We have got a huge week ahead of us when it comes to crypto and Bitcoin, and this is going to be very important that you watch the video all the way through. If you are somebody right now who is freaking out and considering capitulating, or in other words, selling your crypto because you think that a much larger crash is coming, please watch the entire video first. If at the end of it you still feel like you need to sell, I'm not here to give you your official financial advice, but I am here to make sure I bring some things to your attention that you should be aware of before you sell your crypto. We're the Investing Bros. If you guys enjoy the video, make sure you smash the like, hit subscribe as well. But first, let's play that intro. All right, now we're going to be doing some charting. I'm going to give you some thoughts here later on in the video when it comes to price action specifically. But before we go too much further in, let's talk about the massive events that are happening this week. Yes, the price is down. Yes, people are freaking out, but there are some major things happening this week that will have large impact on if the price rebounds and moves to the upside or if that crash continues. Let's start off with the first one, and it is going to be an options expiry happening on Friday. Now, this article was written back on the 14th, but it's the information you need to know about. According to Deribit, about 97,000, let's just call it 98,000 Bitcoin options of notional value worth 6.55 billion, very, very large amount, are set to expire by June 28th. Guys, that's Friday, with a put call ratio of 0.49 and the max pain point at $55,000. Bitcoin price may be staying under selling pressure for a long while. Again, written back on the 14th. And we're going to do more in-depth charting here in a little bit, but I want to just bring this to your attention, even though we have that options expiry. Look at how far we are away from it. That yellow line right here, this is going to be that options expiry, 55,000. We still are hovering up here. I'll give you more of my thoughts in just a second. But in case you're wondering, why are we continuing to move down? Well, I've been telling you now for 2 weeks. 2 weeks I've been saying, guys, watch out for the end of June. We could stay under selling pressure because of this options expiry. Sure enough, that's exactly what's happening right now. But that's not the only big thing happening. That is coming out on Friday. Some other things you need to be aware of is, first of all, on Thursday, we're going to be getting GDP growth rate. This is very, very important. This will tell us, is the economy still doing well or is it in trouble? The previous quarterly growth rate was at 3.4%. A lot of people expecting right now, and this might actually be part of the reason why price is also cooling off, although the economy is doing very well. No one's really expecting it to match the results of the last quarter. Most people are thinking it's going to be somewhere in the range of 1.3. So let's watch what happens on Friday as well. Again, the same day as the options expiry, but that's a massive event that will have an effect on crypto. If we go over, there's also a couple things here. You also get initial jobless claims. We always love to see what those look like to tell if Jerome Powell's closer to rate cuts or not. But more importantly, on Friday, again, Thursday and Friday, very important at the end of this week, we will be getting core PCE and PCE numbers. In case you guys were wondering, this is one of the largest details that Jerome Powell and the Fed look at when they make decisions about what to do. Is inflation under control? Do we need to lower rates? Do we need to raise rates? This is massive because it's one of the biggest indicators of what he wants to do next. So that is what you have to look forward to this week. Make sure you stick around, stay attached to the Investing Bros, hit subscribe and that notification bell right now because you don't want to miss anything that we cover, because these details will have a massive impact on the next leg of crypto prices. However, now before we go to the charts, let's also talk about three things happening right now that are making people freak out and are causing people to want to capitulate. And yet these things, if you actually look at the history of them happening, have been long-term bullish for Bitcoin price. Now, the first one, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm not going to show pictures. I'm not going to go into an article. And I want to let you know, I am not an expert on this field. I'm mostly observing the same way you guys would what the feeling is worldwide right now. There was an attack last night, or there were attacks in Russia that have a lot of heat right now on the internet about the escalation closer to a massive world war. I don't know the details. I don't know how close we are. What I do want you guys to understand, though, is historically, while people, for some reason right now, people like to freak out and say, uh-oh, we're escalating war. That means prices should go down. I by no means am saying I look forward to war. The concept of people, especially innocent people worldwide dying, it breaks my heart. However, if you go back and look at the dates of when other things have happened, for example, even earlier in this conflict between Russia and Ukraine, if you were to go back to 2022, the day that we actually had the attack from Russia to Ukraine, Bitcoin and crypto prices actually spiked and went to the upside. If you look at the days where Israel and Palestine, there was a day or two where price might have gone sideways and down, but as a whole, the price actually moved up instead. You want to go back to historical features, the days where America invaded Iraq and Afghanistan. Again, I'm not giving you guys a thought about what, was that right? Was it wrong? All I'm going to say is the markets, go check them out. The S&P 500, we actually bottomed out on those attacks and the price started to increase. What's my point? People are freaking out right now about war potentially crashing markets, but historically, especially in the last 20 some years, war conflicts actually cause prices to increase and move to the upside. So that's thing number one that people are perceiving as bearish right now, but historically actually comes with bullish price action. Number two, now this one I do have something for you. Mt. Gox. Have you guys heard of Mt. Gox? Well, Mt. Gox again today is releasing something saying that they're going to start reimbursing the people who lost their money, right? A lot of people, we love to freak out about Mt. Gox and these millions and billions of dollars of Bitcoin that will be released. And this always gets talked about as if we're about to crash the markets. But under this X post, it's funny, someone actually gave a great article underneath it, giving the dates. Like, oh, you think this time's going to be different? November 16th, 2017, November 16th, 2021, November 22nd, 2023, August 31st, 2022. With the exception of 2021, this was near a top event when Bitcoin actually spiked. But the others, these are actually areas that increased Bitcoin's price. They were meant to cause a lot of fear. They were meant to cause a lot of people capitulating. And ultimately, if you go back and track these dates, Bitcoin and crypto prices spiked to the upside, not the downside. So again, if you guys are sitting here freaking out about Mt. Gox articles, go back and look at your history, guys. It's actually pretty bullish. And the third and final one I'm going to look at is it doesn't take a lot of research to find this. Go to your favorite news stations, go on Twitter. There's a lot of concern. There's a lot of FUD being posted right now. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD's not always wrong, but there's a lot of negative stories saying, uh-oh, guys, bigger crash coming. We're in trouble. Bears are taking control. And historically, I've talked about this a whole lot as well. There's this thing called the composite man. It's a teaching from Richard Wyckoff that the manipulators of the space love to pump the markets with fear articles, FUD articles, right before a major bottom and a rally to the upside. So even though these three things, the escalation of war, the Mt. Gox stories, and a lot of FUD articles are going to cause several of you to have a pit in your stomach thinking, man, I'm about to lose a lot of money unless I sell right now. I want you to know historically, all three of these things, more often than not, mark bottoms. They're not actually the bearish news you think they would be. Now, that being said, let's go check out the charts for ourselves and see what is happening. The first thing is, if you have been watching the channel now for some time, whether you're watching for a couple of weeks, whether you're watching for a couple of months or days, whatever it is, you guys know we have been talking about this big move now for a while, and sure enough, it has come back into play. In fact, for anyone who hasn't been watching very long, I said way back in March, back when we were hitting new all-time highs, I said, hey guys, having events a couple of months away, a month and a half away, don't be surprised if Bitcoin price cools off into the halving event, and then throughout the summer trade sideways with maybe a couple of wicks going lower than 60,000, maybe a couple of wicks going higher than 72,000. But as a whole, we're going to stay in this sideways, boring price action probably until late August, early September. This is right back in the cards. Here more recently, we have talked about a very bullish formation in play. This is called an ascending triangle with a flat level of resistance sitting up here around 72,000. But if you go back to February of 2024, we've been setting higher lows on our pullbacks. And even though everyone's so bearish right now, when you look at this price action compared to where we just were back on the 1st of May, we are still at a higher price level despite all of the negativity. Well, this formation historically does break to the upside. And before people are saying, well, Tim, we crossed below the green line, doesn't that mean we're in trouble? Well, I'll talk about what happens if we are in trouble. But first of all, if you're newer to technical analysis, you will see people draw lines. You'll see people do all kinds of things. These areas should always be treated as zones, right? So I could have easily done this as well, where I, instead of drawing one flat line, I could have said, you know what, watch out for the zone of support in here. So we actually still have a lot of room. And as long as candles continue to close right there above 60,000, this higher lows effect is still in play. That's the first thing that I'm wanting you guys to make sure you pay attention to. But also, I want you to pay attention to something else that's very, very important is as we are bottoming out, take a look at what is happening on the volume. Volume is starting to increase. If you take a look at the other levels recently where we have seen volume increase, it has marked either tops of movements or bottoms of movements. Why? Because a lot of times the volume will spike after a downward or upward movement when the trend starts to change, meaning the bears over here didn't need a lot of volume. We were sitting at resistance. We began to fall. But now as price drops lower, the volume is increasing. Why? Because now instead of just sellers being in the space, you now have the buyers buying it up. And there's a lot of volume and money going back and forth and back and forth. So this is another reason why in the short term, you possibly could see a reversal coming into play. To kind of wrap it out here, though, we also see right now we're sitting on a major level of support, not only from a rising level of support, but also a support level of a descending channel. That's what these things are right in here. And a major bullish order block where the bears will get very exhausted at this point. And there's a lot, I would say probably millions of dollars worth of buy orders right in this area that actually extends all the way down to about 60,100, right? Let's just go ahead and call it 60,000. As long as Bitcoin is at 60,000 or slightly above it, there's a lot of people looking to buy at this level. Now, you might be wondering, all right, Tim, what happens if we lose this level? How far can we go to the downside? There's some levels to keep an eye on here. Of course, we wicked down back in May. We wicked to 56,400. A lot of people believe that sometimes where you have a candle wick, you will candlestick. Well, right in that same area, again, remember that options expiry on Friday is happening at 55,000. And I've been telling people this is what happens when you get closer to massive options expiries. We're so far, even today, even after this big pullback we've had this morning, we are still so far above this level. And a lot of times what happens is the markets like to make things interesting. The bulls are still very much in control. If that options expiry happened right this second, at the time of making this video, the bulls would win and price would probably shoot back up. But we still have like 5 more days. So what's going to happen is, do not be surprised if throughout the week, we actually see price hover here on 60, maybe a small bounce back up, but then stay hovering here at 61 or so. And it's going to keep things interesting and on the table that we could make a move back down. If you do see $60,000 lost, while some people are going to tell you, look out for 59, look out for 58, I'm going to go ahead and tell you if 60,000 is lost, more than likely we will see a price at least bounce down closer to 55,000. While that does cancel our long-term ascending triangle, that doesn't cancel the long-term bullish price action. It just puts us in a spot where, again, since this high back here in March, we've just been trading sideways, waiting for the real bullishness to start later on this year. If $55,000 is lost, I will say this. I'm not going to give up on the long-term bull market, but if we start to lose and close multiple candles on the daily chart below 55,000, we do have to have another conversation about are we at this point now supposed to be looking for a larger pullback? But until that happens, massive support at 55,000. Before I let you go, I wanted to show you one more thing. Oh my gosh, it's doing it again just like last week. Give me a second. I'm going to unshare my screen. This is very important, though. I am going to show it to you today. I just got to get everything put in here correctly. This is going to be options expiry that are very important about where we have massive levels of liquidity. And this is still, if I don't, you can probably see it on my face. We are having some major glitches here on this page. Don't even know why. There we go. We are close. We are close right in here. So thank you for sticking with me, guys. Let's go back here over to my screen where the freaking out has ended. Got to start here on Bitcoin. 7-day, you're going to see a little bit here. I will switch to a month, though, in a second. Well, 7-day actually shows me everything I need to know as well. So we can stay on the 7-day. If you guys are newer to the channel, this is a liquidations chart. This is not what I wanted to do. All right, got to refresh this page again, guys. My bad. You guys, if you're sticking around for this, you guys are true winners here. Sorry about it. There we go. All right. Zoomed in. There we go. All right. So liquidation charts are levels where either longs or shorts have levels where they would be liquidated. Meaning right now, current price action hovering here on 61,000. All of the bright green or bright yellow levels below us are areas where longs would be liquidated. All the areas that are brightly up above us, those are areas where shorts will be liquidated. You do see here on the 7-day, we have a nice level here on 60. We actually have more that come down to where, roughly $56,000. This is where I want to take a look at the monthly chart because this changed up on me here a little bit over the last couple of days. Let's take a look at what the monthly chart is saying. There we go. This is what I wanted to look at. If you looked at the monthly chart, we just lost some major liquidity here at 62.8 we have been talking about on the channel. While you do have some here at 60 that is kind of running out, it picks back up at 55, right? So what I'm saying is even though there's a lot of support around this $60,000 level, even though I still think there's a good chance we don't drop below, if we do, the next target is this $55,000 range where a lot of longs will be liquidated. Here's the point, though, is if those longs get liquidated, that means that the bears have really no more strong force to move prices further to the downside in a trading scenario. All the incentive is to chase the shorts that are sitting up here above 70,000 all the way up to about 80,000. So as it stands right now, again, I'm pretty certain right now that Bitcoin is closer to the bottom than you would think. I told you guys earlier in the video all the things that are happening this week that could have major effect and have bullish catalyst on Bitcoin's price. But we will want to continue to monitor the markets. 60,000 is our strong support. If that's lost, we fall to 55,000, where we also have some very strong support. If that is lost, we will make a whole new video detailing just what could be happening. I'm not ready to give up on the bull market if that happens, but I will say that that does change a lot of futuristic plans. That being said, though, that's a long way to fall before we have to have any of those conversations. A lot of times people freak out, but this is the best time to be buying. When there's blood in the streets and everybody else seems to be freaking out, take my word or not, those oftentimes are the greatest investment opportunities. You don't want to let them slip by you. Guys, that's all I have for you in this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you smash the like button, hit subscribe, check out the rest of our content throughout the week. And with that said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.